JB here, Monday, July 29, 2024. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Had a great weekend. Talk quick about the market, some of the names I'm looking at, some of the events this week, and go from there. But we are coming off of back-to-back 2 weeks of declines for the S&P, so kind of a big week here. We'll have to see how things play out. We have the Fed meeting. We have a slew of earnings, 900 companies reporting, including 4 of the Magnificent Seven. And then we have the July jobs report on Friday. So should be interesting. Hopefully the market can kind of find some footing here. The VIX soared over 18 last week. Some profit taking, more rotation, whatever we can chalk it up to. But hopefully, the SPY right now, the 541.48 is the 50-day moving average. So just want to see that hold it this week. And then maybe we can, just chalk it up to whether it be profit taking or rotation, and then start to head towards the 560 and then the all-time high areas. I always talk about the silver lining, and if you look at the IWM, it's like trading on a different market here. It still has that potential bull flag setting up. The more chop, a couple more days to chop, then I think possibility. And I always say when you're doing a bull flag, it's dividing the lows to the top by half. So if you take a look, it was 202.50 all the way up to 227.50. So 25 divided by 2 is 12.50. So that gives us maybe another 1250 move to the upside on IWM, which would bode well for obviously the small caps, so maybe even the biotechs as well. So that's something I'll be watching as well. I put on the watch list, so 544 and then 541. Those are the key spots for me on the SPY. If we break 544 today, I'll look for some hedge puts. It's kind of been like the playbook the last couple of weeks, or actually the last couple of months, and it's kind of played out pretty well. I hope I don't have to, and we hold the ground here. We chop around. But if we do break 544, I'll add some hedge puts. 541 will be the next line, and that's where I'll probably get a little more aggressive. So individual names, I'm still working on my little iRobot due diligence piece, my bull case. Still like this name. I just have to get the charts together. One of my big parts of this, uh, I wouldn't say the narrative for iRobot, but the bull case for it will be the fact that the founder and CEO left, because he was a big, big about cost. It's almost like he did whatever he could without worrying about the costs associated to research and development and all these other things he wanted to do. So the fact that he's out and you have a turnaround specialist in there, I think the costs are going to get slashed very quickly. They've already got rid of 33% or so of their workforce. And then they're going to slash R&D, they're going to slash all that stuff, get things back in line. Then you can go focus back on the R&D side of the business. So you take a look at the stock and the valuation, and it trades, like 1/3 revenues. They have cash, they have inventory. I think it's $250 million worth of cash in inventory, if not more. And then assets, which again, I'm trying to figure out all the information, but still think 1425 to 1450. It breaks that, I think it's off to the races. Not only that, it's one of those names that has a high short interest, so it could get some FOMO moves, could get the GameStop folks or what have you into it. Not that I mean, of course, I would like to see it go up regardless. So whoever's in it, that's fine. But you never know. So that's kind of, I'll continue to talk about iRobot. If you look at the short-term chart, still that 1425, 1450 handle breaks through, that's off to the races. VKTX, it was finally broke through that 70 spot. Finally, it hasn't done that since early May. And then what does it do? It struggles and then fades for the rest of the afternoon, closed down to 65.98, gapping up a little bit here in the pre-market. I still, again, it's like mind-boggling to me that it still can't get going and head up to the triple-digit area. Still have the September strikes. I'll just hold on to that. Not going to waste energy trying to add different strikes just yet. Terns. TERN actually is up in the pre-market. Well, people are hitting the ask in the pre-market at 941. Chart looks great. It hasn't had such a tight range in quite some time, which I think means that bodes well. Typically, you would have wide swings to the upside, the downside, and now it's been a kind of a slow upside for TERN. So once it gets over $10, off to the races to 12. Love TERN for upside. So some of the names reporting earnings this week, you have 2 names that kind of catch my eye outside of ROKU and Square, which report Thursday after the close, is Western Digital and AMD. And Western Digital reports after the close Wednesday. It's a name I used to trade back in the day, long before the AI craze and chip craze and what have you. But the stock is off over 10% this month, has an 8% implied move, and I think the fundamentals are strong for the name. So you take a look, nice little kind of bounce on Friday. Actually, I don't have the chart in the chat room, so I do apologize. If if there's a decent report, I think this heads back into the back over its 50-day moving average, over 75 and change. So it's closed at 6704. Well, 60. Well, no, that's 68, 6780. Excuse me. I think if it just reports an inline quarter, it's going to bounce, and it kind of fell victim to the rest of the chip space, the AI space when Google reported earnings. So it's kind of like a sympathy sell-off, and I don't think it deserved to be sold off. I think it has great fundamentals, so on and so forth. So my I'll possibly look to add some calls for premium build into earnings Wednesday with the hope that they increase value enough to cover costs over 100%. If not, I just might hold some spec calls into earnings above 70. So don't be surprised if I add some calls on WDC today. And then AMD. And AMD, I had calls for that nice bounce back at the start of July, made some nice profits on the call side. And then they did an acquisition after I closed my calls, and the stock went even higher. And then it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the past 12 sessions to the downside. So it was, I think it got over or got close to 190. Now it's down here at 140. 9% implied move. It was down 7.86% or so last week. Think a decent opportunity as well to play for some premium build into earnings. They report Tuesday, so they report tomorrow after the close. So don't be surprised if I add some inexpensive speculative calls for premium builds. So the hope that the calls increase in value enough that I can close them out or close some or all out. If I just close some out, it'd be for just to cover costs and ride the rest into earnings. So that's AMD. I talked about Boston Beer on the rant on Friday, and if there's continuation here today, and it's tough to tell because Boston Beer doesn't trade much in the pre-market, doesn't have much liquidity, so it's not like a name that has an active pre-market or after hours market. But if it starts to show strength again here after the open, I might look for some 320, 330 strikes, because you have these, I guess there's a couple and I wouldn't call them slogans, but I call some moves IPO smash ups. So when you have IPOs that are folks are trying to find valuations for the IPO, and they smash, they just go bonkers because people are trying to figure out the valuation. And then you have earnings smash ups, and you have a name like Boston Beer that it rallied over 7% on Friday, despite what you can construe as somewhat of a mixed report. And if there's continuation today, I think there might be an earnings smash up. So I'll be watching. Also, there's been the rumors of a buyout back at the end of May. I think it went up to 330 after that report. So maybe that's some of it. So don't be surprised if you see me add some Boston Beer calls today. And then Square and Roku. So Square and Roku both report earnings after the close on Thursday. Square has a 12% implied move. And just take a look at since the upgrade a week and a half ago, when it was in $72, $73 range, it has sold off over 13 bucks. It's just crazy. There was a article out, I don't know if it was Fortune, one of those publications came out with a piece that Dorsey is looking to do more restructuring with Square. So I think that's actually important. If they can come out with some more, paint some more color on what the restructuring looks like and things like that, I think that'll bode well for the stock. And I think they're going to report a beat and raise anyway. So don't be surprised if you see me add some more strikes. And similar to Roku, I said it last week too. It's just mind-boggling to me that the stock got destroyed after Google earnings based on Google's ads, right? And obviously Roku, they monetize their platform with ads, but they're kind of like the middle party, right? They just match the company with the ads, and so on and so forth. So it's back over the 50-day moving average. 58.81 is the 50-day. It's gapping this morning. I still have my August 75s, got the August 85s. I might look for some August 80s today. The August 75s, I only have a couple left. I already locked a lot of those in for some nice profits. But you take a look at the previous moves on Roku, and let me just see if I can pull it up. Last quarter down 10%, the quarter before down 23%. But if you look at the quarter that we're coming into, that they're reporting, last July, the stock rallied 30%. And then last November, it rallied 30% as well after earnings. Not saying it's going to be deja vu or that just guarantees that it's going to rally 30%, but I think there's a decent risk reward on at least where, especially where the stock is trading, right near historical lows. So kind of like that one for upside. And what's the last chart here? Oh, Gilead. So I was looking on Friday. I was almost looking to close the last of my 80 strikes and add some speculative further out calls on Gilead. So we'll see what happens here today. It ramped right out of the gate on Friday and then kind of turned around for the rest of the session. But just a monster move. I mean, the stock was at 62 bucks in the middle of June. So if this continuation of the biotech sector rallying, I think it just is going to be good things here for Gilead. So that's about it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.